Okay, fam, welcome back. So today we're going to be going over the buy, sells, and dividends for the week of June 1st through the 7th. So with that being said, let's get it. Okay, so I did want to cover, before we start with this, I did want to cover the trades that we did for yesterday. I unfortunately did not have time to update you guys on this, but we're going to do it here. So the Soxel puts that we had, we bought those back at basically break even and or a small profit. We're going to cover that today. We also did do these three TSLL puts at 9.50, 9, and 10. All the expirations are for next Friday. We'll cover that as well today. And we took profit on Fate and repositioned into what's called ARQQ or ARKit, I think is how you say it, Quantum. And we also bought some SEHD. So we're going to be sure to cover all that with you guys today. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so we're going to start here with M1 Finance. You guys can see, obviously, we bought ACP over those couple of days. We covered that with you, but we did not cover this one, so I'm going to go ahead and cover that right now. Looks like I actually forgot to write that down. Good thing this was already popped up. So we, on the 5th here, you guys can see average cost 585, added 17.09 shares, and obviously the goal here is to get to the first benchmark for each position, which again is going to be roughly about $30 a month per position, with the exception of SCHD, because it's very, very expensive to buy SCHD and the yield is not that high. So I'm not saying that SCHD is a bad ETF. I think it's a great ETF. It's just very expensive to try to get that to the same level. So probably just keep that at a third of the benchmarks because it costs so much money to do it. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But anyways, so you can see our total amount is 342.33 at 6.62. Still got a little bit further to go to get to that first benchmark, and when we do, we'll talk about it. Okay, so as for the dividends here, we're going to cover that right now. So we got 4 cents on PFLT, 25.92 on PDI. That should actually increase on the next payout. Enbridge 2 cents, BTO 13 cents, and TLTW 3.44. So that total comes out to first on the left, 29.55. So the Robinhood dividends that we got this week, which again, the first week is basically the first of the month through the 7th of the month. So SPYT, $30 even. JEPQ, God, that's hard to say. 31.85. XDTE 761, which again is weekly. GPIC 33.16 and GPIC 6.44, and GPIC should also increase on the next payout as well. Okay, so that covers the Robinhood dividends, as you can see there. Second to the left, 109.06. Now, in terms of the profits, we sold APLD at the start of the week for $797.64. What's crazy about that is APLD actually did almost like a 2x from where we bought it. So, yeah, really left a lot of money on the table on that one, but who would have known, right? We didn't know it was going to smash the all-time highs like that. Otherwise, maybe perhaps we would have held it longer. We just stick to our rules with what we're trying to trade here. Minimum 15% gain. If we happen to get more, great. Not necessarily looking for 100%. In this case, it would have been 100%, but who can predict the future like that, right? So QUBT, again, last time we sold a partial, we told you we were not going to count that as profit during that time, and that's exactly what we meant. So the total amount here is actually $393.21, but we're only counting $323.21 for this week because, again, $70 of that was options premiums. So that's the QUBT swing trade profit, and I don't remember the exact percentage on that. It's at least a minimum of 15%. Okay, so I actually have to update that because I just realized I forgot that we actually sold Fate this week as well. So yeah, a little bit off here, a lot going on. And Fate also, of course, ran up higher than where we sold it at, go figure. But like I said, rules are rules, and we're trying to stick to the rules for our strategies here. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe, yeah, you know what? Let's just go ahead and do this the old-fashioned way, so that way we get a pretty solid idea of what the numbers are here. Okay, so we got 300, 410. So it should be 1410 plus 70, so 1480. Yeah, because we just literally sold that yesterday before market close, so I actually even forgot about that. Okay, so $240 on the Fate trade, so we're going to add that here. Okay, so it's actually 1,360.85 in profit on the week. It's pretty good. I mean, 3 swing trades in a week. It's hard to believe that even happened because, again, kind of expect to only really knock out 1 swing trade every week or every 2 weeks. So getting 3 in a week is actually really good. So once again, the total for that comes out to $1,360.85. Okay, so now going over the options premiums for the week. So we're going to start at the top here. And so this, once again, this will cover the closing of the or buying back of the Soxhole puts that we didn't get a chance to tell you about yesterday. So opening dates here is going to be 6/3/64. These are cash secured puts. The expiration dates were supposed to be on the 13th. So the 1650, and these are 1 contracts. The 1650 was 56 in premiums. We closed out for 31. And the 1750 was also 1 contract. We opened for 53 in premiums and closed for 52. So basically just got $1 in profit. It's not really that much. Okay, so TSLL opening, the cover calls was on the 4th. The closing date in this case is going to be on the 3rd. And you guys can see that right there. The 16 contracts times, basically we're getting 124 in premiums here. 1550 strikes. So it's pretty much almost exactly the same as it was before. And I'm going to show you guys that as well because I don't think we covered this. So yeah, you can see the total amount there just so you guys know that we're not actually trying to BS you here. Okay, so next cash secured puts here is going to be, so they all opened on 6/5 and 6/6, and then the expirations are going to be 6/13. So for the 950, that's 57 times 1 contract. The $9 strike is 50 times 1, and the $10 strike is 47 times 1, which I'm actually going to show you guys right now. Okay, so there's the 950. There's the $9 one, and last but not least, here is the $10 one. So showing you guys all that stuff, so you can basically see it for yourself. And yeah, so okay, so we showed you the profit on Fate, so that's pretty much done. All right, so and again, we just scroll through these to show you guys exactly what's going on here. So complete transparency, that's always the goal on this channel. Okay, so there's the dividend for SPYT. And of course, those of you guys that have been following us for a while, you would already know how we do this. So this is pretty much to be expected. Okay, there is a JEPQ. And here's XDTE 761. Okay, GPIC right there, 3316. You know, we really got to find some of these dividend ETFs that pay out kind of more in the middle of the month because too many of these pay out at the start or the end. I mean, I'm not really complaining, but you know, it'd be nice to have a little bit of diversity, right? Okay, so 644 here from GPIX. You guys can see that one. Okay, so we'll go over the Soxhole position. And again, we covered these earlier in the week, so it shouldn't really come as a surprise. Okay, so there's the buy for Soxhole. Again, this is a swing trade. It's not an options play. It could become an options play if we decide to do covered calls, but yeah, probably not going to do that, at least not for a little bit. Want to see some upside first. Okay, GPIX. You can see the purchases there. Again, we did cover that earlier in the week. Okay, and there's the 902 at 554 for ALT. Okay, so going to the start of the week here, you guys can see obviously all the different contracts. So there is one other thing. So about $1,200 here we did pay to get out of the previous set of covered calls. So I suppose if we deduct that from the weekly here, again, the weekly would be just for this week is $3,663.46. But if we deduct the amount of money we had to pay to get out of those TSLO cover calls, again, we took like 60% profit. It would be reduced down to 2,400. So basically chop it up how you will. So again, we took off the Soxhole calls and immediately, or Soxhole cash secured puts, I should say, and immediately put on the puts for TSLL because again, Soxhole is going up, TSLL is going down. We want to be doing puts when it's going down. Plus, we also did not account for there being some kind of flash crash on Tesla, and it's below our cost basis again. So we really wanted to buy the dip here, so that's what we did. Okay, so 10 at 10.11, 90 at 10.08, and then 18.43 here at 85 on TSLL. Okay, so next one here is ARQQ. This is the swing. Basically, we took the money out of ALT and put it into ARQQ. So 69.22 shares at 24.85. And of course, it's a quantum stock, so it could easily go up 15 to 20% in a couple of days. Wouldn't shock me at all. I do think that there's a bright future for quantum computing. It's just a question of how long it's going to take, right? Nobody thought that the internet would be as big as it is 20 years ago. But look at where we're at now, right? So quantum computing within the next few years could really be a big deal. All right, so 1245 shares on 2651 average here on SEHD. Again, we were gonna basically ramp this one up, and then we saw TSLL fall off a cliff, and we said, okay, let's put everything else to a screeching halt, and we will just buy TSLL until it goes above our cost basis, or we have the enough shares to be satisfied with. So not sure which one of those is going to happen first. We'll just have to wait and see. So that's basically why we didn't, probably not going to be buying SEHD next week unless things change. So 11.69 shares here at 2651 on this one. Again, the minimum goal here is like somewhere around 70 shares or something like that. I don't know the exact number. Okay, and Serve Robotics is another one of the swings that we put on. So 210.10, you can see it's already in profit. Average here 11.97. There is the transaction right there. Okay, so QUBT, this thing wants to, pretty much like I told y'all, it just took off like a rocket ship. So we got out. You can see the average price here at $12.50, and obviously that wasn't it, right? It just kept climbing. Big shock. But rules are rules, and we have rules when it comes to trading for a reason. I suppose we could use a trailing stop if we wanted to try to see it go higher, but I mean, you know, it's kind of difficult to do that without getting stopped out, unless it's like way, way, way above our profit target. I mean, it really has to be up there for us to want to do something like that. Okay, so APLD, you can see obviously the take profit there, and boy, did we miss out on some stupid gains. I mean, this thing went another $6 up from where we sold out. I mean, man, oh God, that hurts. Oh, it's painful. Okay, so basically 10 out of the 12 positions that we're looking to get up to that first benchmark is already fulfilled. We were going to start on BSTZ and SEHD, but then of course TSLL and Tesla fell off a cliff, so we're going to do that for now until things change, and then we'll go back to it. In terms of the swing trades, we came up with a new, because we were trying to think about how exactly we're going to do this. So we add money when the positions are down, and then we take profit when the positions are up. But there has to be a certain point where we say, okay, you know, it doesn't really make sense, even if it is down, to buy. So basically, if the share price or the market price is at least 20% below our cost basis on any of the swing trades, then we will add money to it. If it's anything in between that, down 1 to 19%, we're not going to touch it. We're just going to sit on it. So that way we can buy these shares at the deepest possible discount from where it's at, and grow it that way. And then as for the options, for now it's basically just going to be TSLL unless Soxel has a pullback, because again Tesla is very cheap. So one last thing I wanted to cover here with you guys live, and that is the ARQQ swing trade. Because again, I want to make sure that I'm covering not just for you guys this stuff on X, but actually going through a little bit more detail on the charts themselves so you guys can see what to expect. Okay, so this thing used to, if you can believe this thing used to be at $1,000 a share. I'm aware that there was a stock split. That's fine, whatever. I could easily see this thing going back up to $100, even post stock split. I mean, look at what happened with NVIDIA and Tesla, right? Okay, so pretty much what we're looking at here is we got to close above this previous swing high at 23. That's obviously very bullish. I'm looking for this gap way back here to get filled. So 29 to 35, 36, somewhere in there. It's definitely a possibility. Wouldn't be shocked here. So about a 37% gain. And again, if it goes all the way back to the previous major swing high here at $54, that's a 110% gain. And again, the first best time to get into one of these swing trades, according to this indicator, is at the Golden Cross, which would have been way down here at 15. Of course, you would have made stupid money if you had held long enough. I mean, this trade would have been ridiculous, so it does work. The next best time to get in is a retest of the EMAs, which you can see we're getting a second retest. But the thing to keep in mind here is, generally speaking, when this thing is in a bull trend, it's going to create higher highs and higher lows. And as long as that remains consistent, the trend is intact. And we did also get a close above this previous top here, which is very bullish. So at a minimum, we could shoot all the way up to 33. But what I'm personally looking for is a gap fill, probably all the way to 35. It's possible maybe it just wicks up to 35 and then stops there and pulls back. So at least 29%, maybe even as high as 35%. All right. Hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.